Hello, my name is Diane, and today I want to talk about some of the books that are coming out in January 2023. While it's hard to believe the year's almost over, it means we have a whole new year of book releases to look forward to, and I've been checking out what's on the schedule for 2023, and I want to talk about some of the ones that are coming out in January. The first book, which comes out on January 10th, is The Sapphire Altar by David Dalglish. This follows our main character Cyrus, who is a usurped prince, and he has since been trained as an assassin to usurp the empire and take back his kingdom. Cyrus eventually finds out that his master may be keeping some secrets from him, and also the mask he's been wearing starts whispering to him in the dark. While Cyrus has been working towards taking back his kingdom and his home, he's beginning to question whether or not the price he'll have to pay to be able to do that is getting to be too high. I'm really looking forward to this. It sounds right up my alley. It's got assassins, revolutions, kingdoms, fighting other kingdoms. I really like the trope of a conquered people rising up and taking back what was theirs. And I like the added element of the main character who possibly lost the most in all of this and will also possibly have the most to gain from all of this, questioning if he should really be going through with it. There seems to be some even darker element at play here. I'd be really interested to find out what's going on with this mask. It sounds really mysterious and suspicious, so definitely one I'm going to be keeping my eye out for. The next book, also coming out on January 10th, is Bad Cree by Jessica Johns. This is being published by Doubleday and is a horror, I've seen it listed as fairy tale, story about a Cree woman named Mackenzie. Mackenzie wakes up with a severed crow head in her hands after having a dream about these birds that have been following her, and when she blinks, the bird's head disappears. She progressively has more intense dreams that seem to be following her into the waking world, at least a little bit. She also keeps having a dream about a time before her sister died at her parents' lake house, and she's returns home to her family to seek help, trying to figure out what all these dreams mean, why she keeps dreaming about this specific day, why her dreams are following her, and why these crows are also following her around the city. Sounds like it's going to be a thriller-style story where all of these dangerous things are happening and mysterious things are happening, and we'll have to figure out alongside Mackenzie why she's having these dreams, what's so important about that day at the lake, and what it all has to do with her sister. Another book coming out on January 10th, big day for books, is Phaedra by Laura Shepperson, and this is coming out from Alcove Press, and it's a retelling of the story of Phaedra. Phaedra is the daughter of an adulteress, the sister of a monster, and the unwilling bride to an older, power-hungry man named Theseus. Phaedra sort of accepts her lot in life and resigns herself to this role she's been given until one day she is assaulted by Hippolytus, her stepbrother, and Phaedra decides to speak up. So while the men of their city gather to decide what happened and what will happen, the women in the city sort of linger in the shadows, talking about what's happening and finally getting a voice when they've never had one before. The women here don't get a vote. They don't get to speak up when things like this happen to them, and now that Phaedra has started something, they're hopefully going to be heard, and there'll hopefully be justice for what happened, not only to Phaedra, but to other women going forward. I'm not really familiar with Phaedra, but I think we're all familiar with there being two sides to every story. Usually one of them is heard more than the other, and I think this would be an interesting story, even without the background of these characters, to see a city sort of stirring with the potential of equality, or at least the beginnings of moving towards equality, especially in a place where they've never taken steps towards that before. Yet another book coming out on January 10th is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This is being published by Del Rey, and it is a fairy tale romance. This follows the professor Emily Wilde, who is working on gathering all of her information. She's at the top of her field, and she's writing an encyclopedia about fairies. While she's an expert in her field, she's not very good with people. She's not personable. She doesn't really like being around people. She much prefers her books and her research. And when her charming academic rival, Wendell Bamblebee, shows up and starts endearing himself to the locals and also interfering with Emily's work, Emily starts to wonder what he's really after, what his real goal is, when all she wants to do is uncover the secrets of the fairies. This sounds really interesting. I think Emily sounds like a great character, the socially awkward scholar who's just trying to do research, and then this guy shows up who I would assume that this is going to be an enemies to lovers because it was also listed as a romance, but maybe it won't necessarily be with Wendell. Sounds like there's something a little extra going on with him. He seems to have ulterior motives, and with fae folk involved, you never really know what that might be or if his intentions are really his own. So I'll be looking forward to figuring that out when this book is finally out. The next book, which comes out on January 17th, is The Keeper's Six by Kate Elliott. This is being published by Tor.com, and this is the story of a mother named Esther whose adult son has been captured by a dragon lord, and she sets out to go find him. To do this, she needs to call on the help of her hex, who she hasn't spoken to in a year after they were banned from the Beyond for a decade. They need to get back together, make amends for whatever it was that happened, and fly under the radar through the Beyond to find Esther's son and save him. This sounds fun and dangerous. Mom on a mission to save her kid. It's a fantasy, but it also sounds like it's going to have some sci-fi elements as part of that, alongside the magic. And I love a quest story about an adventure party, especially where it seems like there might be some tension amongst the group. So this one sounds like it should be a lot of fun. Then coming out on January 31st is Barrow of Winter by H.M. Long. This is being published by Titan Books, and while I have seen that this is the third book in a series, I've also heard that you don't need to have read the other two to have any background for this story. It's said to be an isolated book within the same world as the other two books. So you may get some world building and familiarity from having read the other books. It's supposed to stand up on its own. The story follows our main character, Threy. She is the last daughter of Winter, and she is offered a chance to visit Duhamel, the land her father once ruled, where her demigod siblings are now the rulers. The land has become dark and dangerous. There are strange beasts around. The people seem to always be on the verge of violence. It's just a very on-edge, tense place to be right now. Alongside the dangers of the frozen lands, Threy needs to survive assassination attempts and conspiracies that she's now found herself surrounded by. And the siblings now seem to have their sights set on what the land that Threy now calls home. The story sounds like it's going to have a lot of court politics along with some danger, all the conspiracies, the sort of infighting between the siblings and Threy. Sounds like it'll be a good political intrigue story, which is something that I tend to enjoy. So those are all the more fantasy books that I'm looking forward to coming out in January. But I'm also looking forward to Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun by El Casamano, which comes out on January 31st. It's the third book in the Finlay Donovan series. I'm not really going to talk about the synopsis of this book because it is the third book, but I read the first two books and loved them. It follows Finlay Donovan, who is a novelist who's struggling to put out her next book. She's really stumped on the plot and where to go in the story. She's also a newly single mother who's struggling financially when a conversation between her and her publisher is overheard by a woman. She's mistaken as a contract killer and offered a job to take care of someone for quite a bit of cash. While Finley is not a contract killer, the payout is very tempting and would really help her out a lot. She decides to just have a look at who this person is that she's supposed to be killing. And from there, things start to get out of hand. One thing leads to another. Finley really finds herself in a pickle that she needs to get out of. And it's sort of a comical, a little more lighthearted in tone situation where an ordinary person accidentally finds themselves intermingling with criminals and really dangerous people that she doesn't want to be involved with, but she also can't simply say no to, because either way there's going to be some pretty big consequences. I've been loving this series. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to the third book that's coming out. There are plenty of other books coming out in January, but these are the ones that I'm most looking forward to. Let me know if you're looking forward to any of these or what your most anticipated release of January 2023 is. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you're having a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.